Honored to bring this Tallahassee City Commission meeting to order. It is Wednesday, June 10th at 3:02 in the afternoon. Providing the invocation today, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the Reverend Dr. Kim Buchanan of United Church in Tallahassee. Reverend, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Holy One, thank you for our beloved city of Tallahassee, for the panoply of biology that gives us ancient oaks, microscopic algae, and a riot of rainbows when the azaleas bloom. Thank you, too, for all our people, we who are ourselves a riot of rainbows. Like the natural world, our human community also thrives because we aren't all alike. Our skin is different colors. Our height, our oh, no, I wasn't going to do that. Our place of origin, speech, and desires also are different. We're also different in how we present ourselves to the world and even in who we love. Humanity is a motley crew, Holy One, just like you created us. We've learned in our living that we are so much better together because we are not alike. We thank you for our riotous, by which we mean righteous, rainbowness, Holy One. And we thank you for this month when we're invited to celebrate it. There's another place where we aren't all alike, in our ideas about the best way to move our beloved Tallahassee community forward. We all love our city. We all want what's best for all our citizens. How we achieve our common Tallahassee good, yeah, we've got different ideas about that. As our commissioners work together today in their stewardship of our beloved city, we pray for their wisdom. We thank you for their service and for their commitment to Tallahassee, which is their commitment to us. We thank you for the staff and all the work they do. And we thank you for all the aides, because we know that without the hard work of those aides, none of us would be here today. And so, Holy One, we ask your blessings on this day, and we ask your blessing on these people. And finally, we ask that the riotous, righteous rainbow on display in this room might become even more beautiful through our common work today. All this we ask in your name and for the sake of our common good. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend, thank you so much for a beautiful invocation and for starting us off right today. All right, Mr. Manager, I know we have some agenda modifications. Will you please walk us through?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items have been added to your agenda material. It's item 8.13, that's acceptance and appropriation of a federal grant via execution of the Associated State Homeland Security Grant Program contract from the Florida Division of Emergency Management. That's from the Fire Department. And then item 12.04, which is approval of resolution 26R21 to rename West Carolina Street from North Adams Street to South Copeland Street. You'll recall directing staff to begin the process for that. That process is underway. We believe it will culminate within a couple of weeks, and we're asking you to grant approval for that subject to finalization of that process.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, also 2 items have been pulled from consent, item 8.03 and 8.07. They've been added to section 9 of your agenda.
You said 8.03. Okay,
Yes,
8.03, 8.07.
Yes, sir.
And then 8.13 as well?
No, we've added 8.1.
Oh, okay.
That is in your consent agenda.
Excellent. All righty. Excellent. Any questions, colleagues, on the agenda modifications? Seeing none. We have two great presentations today. If y'all would like to join me down. Diane, Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to invite my friends from Equality Florida to please come join me at the podium. And in fact, all of our friends that are celebrating Pride Month, please come join me at the podium. Stephanie, Dana, John Harris, it's great to see y'all. And as you're coming up, I want to mention, I know that this is the 10-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub tragedy, that we should always keep family and friends in our hearts and minds. Ladies and gentlemen, from the governing body of the City of Tallahassee, a proclamation. Whereas the central tenet of the United States law is the principle of non-discrimination and equal protection under the law as human rights. And whereas members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer communities still face ongoing discrimination based on their innate status, resulting in untallied human tragedy, loss of life, community isolation, and abuse. And whereas the City of Tallahassee opposes any type of oppression, be it based on race, gender, gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation, and is committed to justice and equality for all individuals. And whereas the City of Tallahassee has long strived for equal rights for all citizens and maintains a strong stand that each individual deserves to be treated equally and with respect, no matter what their sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, race, size, color, creed, ethnic origin, or religion may be. And whereas to celebrate the richness and diversity of the Tallahassee community, various community organizations, businesses, and individuals will conduct various cultural, educational, and entertainment activities during the month of June to focus attention on the importance of equality, equity, acceptance, and respect for diversity among us. Now, therefore, I, John Evans Daly, by the authority vested in me as the mayor of the City of Tallahassee, do hereby recognize the month of June as Pride Month to honor freedom from prejudice and bias in any form, to recognize and praise those members of our community who constantly fight the battle for equal treatment for all, and to further restate the City of Tallahassee's commitment to remain adamantly opposed to all forms of discrimination and oppression, read into the record in front of each and every one of you here today, signed with my signature, John E. Daly, dated June 10th, 2026. John Harris, if I could, I'm going to present this to you. I have known you for decades, and you have done tremendous work. This is my last Pride Month as mayor, and I want to personally thank you as well for helping me get my LGBTQ plus advisory council up and off the ground when we first got elected. Thank you so very much. It's my honor to present this to you.
Very briefly, on behalf of Equality Florida, Tallahassee Pride Fest, and the broader community, I just want to share my thanks to the mayor and the commission for recognizing Pride Month. We know how important these actions are for the community, these and more. We're certainly living in a time where there are a lot of efforts sort of opposing that message of diversity and inclusion. As a Tallahassee resident, I'll say I'm particularly proud to have the only local elected in the state who has now twice shown up in the legislature to testify against some of those efforts to undermine diversity, equity, and inclusion that we see from some of our partners at the state level. But the way that our community consistently shows up for, the way that our commission consistently shows up for our community is deeply impactful, and it's part of what does make Tallahassee so welcoming. It's part of what allows us to have events like Tallahassee Pride Fest that become economic generators, and we're just very grateful. So for June and throughout the year, thank you all so much.
Thank you. You want to? Yep, we're good. Let's get a picture. For our second and final presentation, it's my honor to recognize Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Al Lawson often says, let me pull this down for the regular heighted folks. Speaking of that, today we are happy to honor a giant in our community. He is literally, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and ask that Mr. Cook, Principal Cook, and your lovely wife, if you all would just come and join us here. And as he comes, just give him a round of applause. As you know, Principal Cook has been the principal at Rickards High School. He's been at Montford Elementary and Cobb. So he's been around this district spreading his expertise, his knowledge, and most importantly, his love for students and for education. And I said to his wife, thank you for loaning him to us. She says, great, time is up. So I told her his last official business with the City of Tallahassee will be to receive this proclamation. So without further ado, I will read it.
And because Diane brought it up, I think it's appropriate for Diane.
And the mayor has signed it, of course. It's not official unless the mayor signs it. Okay. From the governing body of the City of Tallahassee, a proclamation, whereas after 35 years of distinguished service to public education and steadfast commitment to students, families, educators, and the Tallahassee community, Principal Douglas Cook celebrates his retirement. And whereas Principal Cook began his career with Leon County Schools on August 19, 1991, that's according to Michelle Gill, okay, dedicating his professional life to developing future leaders and advancing educational excellence. And whereas Principal Cook earned a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Education from the Florida A&M University in 1987, just a couple of years behind me, and later earned a master's degree in educational leadership in 2005, reflecting his commitment to academic achievement and lifelong learning. And whereas Principal Cook earned Florida Department of Education certifications in principal, educational leadership and engineering and technology education, grades 6 through 12, and consistently applied his knowledge and leadership to strengthen educational outcomes. And whereas throughout his distinguished career, Principal Cook served Leon County Schools in several leadership capacities, count them with me, including assistant principal at Cobb Middle School, principal at Montford Middle School, and principal of James S. Rickards High School from 2008 through 2026, where he became known for visible leadership. You don't have your vest on today. Student advocacy and fostering a culture of excellence. And whereas Principal Cook's legacy is reflected in the countless students encouraged, educators inspired, and community relationships strengthened through his dedication and service. Now, therefore, John E. Daly, by the authority invested in him as mayor of the City of Tallahassee, do hereby recognize Douglas Cook for his 35 years of educational excellence and commend his extraordinary contributions to public education and lasting impact on our community. Signed by the mayor. Thank you, Mr. Cook. I call him Dr. Cook. I know you can't give him that title without the credentials, but let me just tell you, he has done a surgical job at my beloved Rickards High School. Many of you know that that's my neighborhood school, and I've cut my eye teeth on advocacy at Rickards High School through Kimball Thomas, who was my first generation son's principal, then Pink Hightower, who took care of the second generation of children I have, and then Mr. Cook took on the community children that I have. We worked together very closely, dealing with specific issues, and he never said no. He never put it off. And so we thank you for your compassion, we thank you for your attention, and we thank you for your love. God bless you.
Sure, please, absolutely.
I just want, because one of the first things I did when I came in the room was to go over to Mr. Cook. My oldest daughter, who was a Naval Academy graduate and now a naval flight officer in the United States Navy, is a graduate of Rickards High School. And during the time that Mr. Cook was a principal, of course, and he had so much influence on my daughter and would always ask how she was doing, what she was doing. And I just want to thank him for what he contributed, not only to our family, but to my precious daughter. So, Mr. Cook, thank you and enjoy your retirement.
Please, Mr. Cook.
Good afternoon. First, I want to thank God who allowed me the fortitude to go into education. I dodged education for 4 years after graduating because I didn't want to be an educator. But one thing I learned is that that's one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had. I also would like to thank my wife who has dedicated so many nights seeing me off to football games and different events. But she's been there because that is your rock when you have that spouse that supports you and do the things that you need to do so you can be successful. To Ms. Williams-Cox and Mr. Richardson, thank you guys for your support over the 14 years and over my entire career. To Dr. Gale, Mr. Knight from LCS who is here today, thank you for your support. To my favorite school board member who's in the back, who's a champion for all schools, not just Southside schools, because as we stated, we have to be about all schools, all people within our community, and Mr. Dale Jones is second to none. I don't know the other commissioners, but thank you. I do follow you. I do think about the things that you do for our city, and I really appreciate what you do for Tallahassee. And to Mayor Daley, I knew his late father when I first started many years ago. And just to see how he has blossomed, he's the mayor, he's on his way out just like I am, and I'm sure he's looking forward to some other endeavors just like I am. But once again, thank you guys for everything. Thank everyone in here, all LCS, all the people that I've had an honor to work with because it's been so enjoyable. And y'all, please leave that vest alone because that was my safety committee who had me wear that vest. It wasn't something I came up with. But with that being said, it's good to be known for something. So once again, thank you guys for honoring me here today. And this is a tremendous honor and privilege. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Manager, do we have any announcements to come before the City Commission at this time?
No, sir.
All right, we're on 7.01, the acceptance of the fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report. Is that you, Mr. Manager?
The Deputy Inspector General is going to introduce.
Deputy Inspector General, all right.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Stephen Meredith, the Deputy Inspector General, and for item 7.01, I will introduce the City Fiscal Year 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report in place of Audit Committee Chair John Kirk, who's unable to attend due to a scheduling conflict. The audit for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025, has been completed by our external auditor, Forvis Mazars. The auditor issued an unmodified opinion, meaning the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The audit reports also identified no reportable financial statement findings or question costs. On May 18th, the audit committee met with Forvis Mazars, reviewed the auditor's reports, and recommends formal acceptance by the City Commission. Before closing, I would also like to recognize the hard work of city staff across the organization who maintain accurate financial records, generate the financial data that supports this audit, and assemble the annual comprehensive financial report. In particular, I want to thank Assistant City Manager Abena Ojeteo's Financial Services team, led by Director Patrick Twyman and Financial Reporting Manager Rita Stevens, as well as Director of Grants and Enterprise Resources Roberta McManus and the Grants team for the professionalism, diligence, and coordination required to produce this report and support a successful audit process. The recommended action is option 1, accept the fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report.
All right, any questions to the Deputy Inspector General? I want to say thank you. Congratulations. Yes, Commissioner Williams-Cox.
This is exhibit, People's Exhibit A. It's available online to be reviewed. It is available to be seen, but this is what it looks like in a hard copy for those who need some additional nighttime sleep medicine. But the good part is that there was a clean audit done by our external partners. I wanted to make sure that that was magnified clearly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner.
I too want to add, I'm so proud of this city, and I'm looking at the 4 appointeds where everyone works in one of the departments. To have a workforce of, 4,400, $1.2 billion budget, and to have a 100% clean audit from an outside auditing firm is just simply amazing. Congratulations, y'all run a great shop. We certainly do appreciate it. I will move the recommended action for option number 1. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further comment? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on the consent agenda.
Move consent.
Second.
Mayor.
All right, hold on just a second. Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, it's been properly moved by the Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Any further comment? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. We are on item
9.01, sir.
Yeah, I'm catching up. I'm making my own notes. We're on item number 9.01 that's been pulled off the consent agenda. Mr. Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask, I see they've joined us, Michael Olson and Tony Guillen from our electric and gas utility. They're here for this item. It seeks your authorization to authorize me or my designee to accept the FAMU FSU College of Engineering Research Grant application, and if awarded, sign a sub-recipient grant agreement pursuant to the U.S. Department of Energy's Genesis mission terms. This item was pulled by Commissioner Porter. Again, Michael Olson and Tony Guillen are here to answer any questions that anyone has.
Sounds good. Commissioner Porter, hold on just a second. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Porter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just hoping that someone could clarify. I had some questions in my briefing that I did get answers to, but I wanted the public to have the benefit of that information as well. My questions were related to kind of data governance. What exactly are we sharing? Are we protecting the identities of the information that we share, as well as questions about the ownership of any resulting intellectual property if this becomes commercialized. So I was hoping that at the very least you could address some of those privacy questions that I had, just the data security.
Yeah, absolutely, Commissioner. Mayor, Commissioners, Commissioner Porter, thank you for the question. Yeah, so in this case, it's FAMU FSU College of Engineering sponsored research. They're developing an AI-based grid modeling tool at some point which they want to test it out. And so in partnering with us, we'll provide anonymized, aggregated utility data that could be from our distribution system, our load data, weatherization data, even data related to select incidents in the past, like hurricanes and such. But in each case, much of that data, or at least that portion that is critical energy infrastructure information, otherwise protected, will have a non-disclosure agreement with the researchers. Again, will not necessarily scrub, but adjust the data such that nothing sensitive or critical, and certainly no customer-related information shared. This will afford the researchers an opportunity to see, hey, using utility-based data in their model, how's it working? We could take a look at the results and provide counseling on that. At this stage, looking forward to commercialization, I think this is the very beginning of the process under this Genesis mission grant solicitation. There are a good number of topics. The ones that this refers to is topic 16A and B. So it's competitive. It is broad seeking. At this stage, if the application is selected, there's still a whole host of software development, validation, and all before we get to something, is it useful or not? At this stage, it's still kind of too early to tell, well, what would our cut or partial ownership in that intellectual property be? But it might be helpful to know of this initial project, our role represents 5% of the budget, and our role is really about validating the model, not the intellectual property that addresses it, if that helps.
It does, yes. Thank you for addressing that. And I'm just curious, are any other utilities or municipal utilities participating as well, or just the city at this point?
Not as part of this grant application, but I'm going to assume DOE has received lots of applications across.
Okay, but not with FSU and FAMU, as far as we know. And it doesn't matter, I'm just curious.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would move option 1.
Option 1's been properly moved by Commissioner Porter. Is there a second by Commissioner Williams-Cox? No further comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes 5-0. Michael, while we got you here, as mayor, I've seen it all now. We've had hurricanes, tornadoes, flood events, snow events, and now we just had an earthquake, we felt, I guess. On a serious note, I think I know the answer, but everything's fine, right? No damage or anything, or did we feel anything, or we're all good?
Everything's fine, Mr. Mayor.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Appreciate you. We're on 9.02. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is related to the approval of construction manager at risk, and oftentimes we'll refer to that as CMAR, ranking and authorization to negotiate and execute contracts for a group of 5 that participated in the RFQ process. Rob McGarrah is the general manager of underground utilities and public infrastructure. His team conducted this process, and they're here to answer any questions. This item was pulled by Commissioner Matlow.
All right, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I was hoping we could get some more information here. I see the 5 companies recommended for approval for projects not to exceed $7.5 million, so a little over $35 million in projects, but none of the projects are listed. Can you give us some information on?
Mr. McGarrah.
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to address the questions. These are essentially, I would call, there are continuing services agreements. We don't have a specific list of projects to use them on, but it allows us to have projects or contracts in place with these firms that when what we would call vertical construction type projects, building type projects that are greater than maybe what our term contracts can handle, up to $7.5 million each, that we can then go negotiate with one of these firms to do that work for us. And by having the CMAR in place, it allows us to work with the firm during the design to get the most cost-effective pricing for the project. We get their expertise as we go through the design process, so we can get some value engineering adds in the project to do it more cost-effectively.
So as these unknown projects arise, they wouldn't go out for a competitive bid individually?
No, sir, they would not. We would, for the projects that we would identify to do under this, and this is not just projects within UUPI, this could be used across the whole organization. If we decide to go this route, we would go negotiate with one of the vendors. If we can't reach an acceptable price with that vendor, we would then go to one of the other vendors on the list out of the 5. You can't, under the state law that we did this competitive solicitation under, we can't bid between the vendors, but we can negotiate with them. But you would negotiate one at a time.
And do you have upcoming projects that you expect to utilize these vendors for already scheduled or planned?
We have a project within my shop that we're looking at using this vendor, a small warehouse project that's probably in the $1.5 million range that we're looking to do, that we would do under one of these contracts.
Okay, thank you. And that's all the questions I have for you. I don't support this item. I think as these projects are needed, we should be bidding them out individually, trying to find the best value. I think predetermining to be able to spend up to $7.5 million on a project and not let that be competitive bid as they are identified, I don't think is the best process. I know other governments have done this before. I know we did this with the police station as well. And I'll cite that as another reason I don't think this was the best method of, when that project spiraled out of control on price based on what is approved by this body. So I'd prefer these projects, if we're going to approve upwards of $40 million in projects, to have them come back to the city commission individually in competitive bid. So I'll make a motion to reject this recommendation.
Before I come to the motion, do we have any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, motion on table by Commissioner Matlow to reject this item, seconded by Commissioner Porter. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
And the motion fails 3-2 with Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. We do not have a motion on the table. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
I move that we accept option number 1.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I would just offer that this is a best practice.
Yes.
In procurement, so that you don't have to go out and do this over and over and over again. You go ahead and identify a list that you can work from. And I believe that what the staff has done here is appropriate according to Florida statute to be effective in our procurement process.
All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-2 with Commissioner Matlow and Commissioner Porter dissenting. We are now on item 10.01. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. The Planning Commission has 1 city-appointed seat and 1 Leon County School Board appointed seat set to expire on June 30th of 2026. In accordance with the Planning Commission's bylaws, the City Commission is requested to reappoint Will Shepard to seat 3, the city's seat, and ratify the Leon County School Board's reappointment of LaRoderick McQueen to seat 7. For both of them, these reappointments would have terms commencing July 1st of 2026 and expiring June 30th of 2029.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
Move to accept.
Second.
Properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. We're on item number 10.02. Mr. Clerk.
Item 10.02 concerns city representation on Florida League of Cities bodies. The city has a seat on the Board of Directors as one of the 10 most populous cities. Currently, Commissioner Williams-Cox is in that seat. However, in August, she is a candidate for a second vice president position, and should she prevail in achieving that position, then she would need to vacate the existing seat, the current seat that she is in. And because that happens in August during the break, we're asking the commission to identify and select one of the 5 of you to serve as a contingent person, so that when Commissioner Williams-Cox wins her second vice president seat, we have somebody to move right in.
All right, any public comment on this?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams-Cox, any comment?
I would like to offer the motion that Commissioner Richardson, who is already fully engaged with the Florida League of Cities, would be our designee for this. So I recommend option 1
I'll second
for
it.
Commissioner Richardson.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. We are on the introduction of ordinance. Let me remind the public on the introduction of ordinance, we do not take public comment. We are simply reading the introduction into the record and taking a ceremonial vote. We don't even really discuss it. That is for a future date. We're on 11.01. Mr. Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, item number 1101 is introduction of ordinance number 26010, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending Section 6 of the Charter of the City of Tallahassee to annex within the corporate area of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, upon adoption of said ordinance, property being situated in Leon County, Florida, in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of Section 171.044 Florida statutes, providing for severability, conflicts, and effective date. The recommended action is option 1, introduce ordinance number 26010 and set the first and only public hearing for August 26, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m.
All right, it's been read into the record. Ceremonial motion to
So
state
move
that
for
we
option 1.
read it into the record. It's been properly moved by
Second.
Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Commissioner Matlow, we usually don't take comment because we're just reading it into the record.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And historically, we have commented on introduction of ordinances. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the item. I think that is appropriate for a public hearing, but I do think this item has garnered a lot of public attention and more questions, which I don't think over the summer is adequate time to be answered, especially as people travel and have vacations through the summer. So I'd like to make a substitute motion to introduce the ordinance, but set the public hearing 6 months from then in January.
Second that.
Motion on the table to postpone till January, seconded by Commissioner Porter. All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
And it fails 3-2 with the Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have some questions, if I may.
Well, this is traditionally not the time. We just read it into the record. We don't have discussion. We don't have public input. Look, I'll give you a couple questions, but this is not, we did not advertise that there would be public discussion, so the public is not part of this conversation right now. This is just simply the beginning of the process.
I
Commissioner Porter.
understand. Thank you. So is someone coming up to address the questions?
No, ma'am, because it's just the reading of the,
No, okay.
into the
Well,
record.
I'll just say, last month, I mean, it is you can do whatever you want, of course, as mayor, but we have allowed questions from commissioners. We did at our last meeting when we introduced an ordinance. So I'll just scream them into the void, I guess. We have an annexation policy in our comprehensive plan that says we shall maintain a map of annexation study areas, and the annexation study areas map shall be amended. Is this land in an annexation study area?
Mr. Mayor, I think if you would like, Mr. Tedder can answer this.
Yeah.
If you want to entertain that, we can do that. We can do it. Have her.
Come on,
we
Mr.
can-
Tedder, let's answer the questions. Please.
Sure. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner, the map that it references to in the comprehensive plan, the county and the city have historically, in fact, they've developed a joint annexation policy in the comprehensive plan. They looked at those areas that would be something that the city and county would work together to annex over the years. So that's where those maps originated from that process years ago. Today, what you have is just simply an individual who's coming in and asking for to be included inside the city limits.
Right, I understand what's before us today, but I'm asking, is this in an annexation study area? When it was contemplated, is it in an annexation study area?
I do not recall this area being in that
Okay,
map.
okay, thank you. It's my understanding as well that we have to come up with a plan for providing services under our interlocal agreement with the county in the event of an annexation. Is that correct?
Yes, we have an interlocal agreement with the county that tells us how we serve water and sewer to the properties. Rob McGarrett is probably the best to answer those questions, but we have an interlocal agreement that tells us under what conditions infrastructure will be provided to the properties.
Okay, thank you. And at this point, do we have a plan? Have we initiated those conversations with the county?
I don't think that's necessary because we have an interlocal agreement that specifies the details of when water and sewer is expanded to or extended to individual properties.
Okay.
There's no need to go get approval from the county, in other words, to extend utilities to the property.
Okay. And I just have a few more questions about our annexation policy. According to our own annexation policy, it says that annexation efforts should focus on areas within the urban services area, encourage urban infill development, reduce fragmentation of city boundaries, and support planned growth areas. Would you say that this aligns with our own annexation policy?
Absolutely. The properties have been included inside the urban service area boundary since 1992, from the introduction of the comprehensive plan. So yes, it's been an area that has been contemplated to be urbanized over time.
So you would say that moving forward with this annexation, that's an example of urban infill development?
Absolutely. When we have included it inside the urban service area boundary since 1990, it was a clear indication that that area will be urbanized over time.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make the motion, simply approve the action of reading into the record. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
And it passes 4-1 with Commissioner Porter or 3-2?
3-2.
3-2 with Commissioner Matlow and Commissioner Porter in dissent. We're on 11.02. Again, simply reading into the record, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item number 1102 is introduction of ordinance number 26011, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending Section 6 of the Charter of the City of Tallahassee to annex within the corporate area of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, upon adoption of said ordinance, property being situated in Leon County, Florida, in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of Section 171.044 Florida statutes, providing for severability, conflicts, and effective date. The recommended action is option 1, introduce ordinance number 26011, and set the first and only public hearing for August 26, 2026 at 6:00 p.m.
All right, we have read it into the record. Is there a motion to accept?
Move staff
Properly moved by
recommendation,
the Mayor
option
Pro
number
Tem.
1.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. Mr. Attorney, do we have any other ordinances to read into the record?
We do not.
Policy formation and direction, 12.01, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, item 1201 is a follow-up to your last meeting. As is well known, I've announced my retirement this fall, and at the last meeting, the City Commission authorized the recruitment for the city manager's role. Also authorized the hiring of Ms. Renee Narlock and Associates. Ms. Narlock is here this evening to provide an update. If I may, I'd like to ask our HR Director, Sandra Timpson, to introduce Ms. Narlock for a brief presentation.
Wonderful.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to bring this update to you. We have Ms. Renee here that's going to provide you with a little bit more detail of where we are in the process. We've executed that contract and started the process of building that candidate profile and research marketing.
Renee, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Greetings, Commissioners. Renee Narlock with Narlock and Associates. I'm accompanied by my colleague, Elliot Pervinich. He'll be involved in this project with us. We're appreciative to be here today and be part of this. I want to congratulate Reese Goat on a nice long tenure here at the City of Tallahassee. Congratulations, Reese. So I've been working closely with Sandra with HR, and we're working behind the scenes since your last meeting to get things aligned, to get things ready to go forward. I did want to come down and introduce myself and talk with you for a few minutes about what the expectations are going forward, what we'll do. We've done this, I just want to say real quick that we've done this a lot. We've done this for many, many, many years in a lot of different organizations, a lot of large and small communities all across the nation, all different kinds of positions, a lot of director positions, but a lot of city, county managers also. A lot of work in Florida. We understand operating in the sunshine, and we are prepared to do that. We also, I just want to say I live in Tallahassee. This is my home. It's not often I get to do a recruitment for I'll say my city manager at the moment. But we're looking forward to that. I'm just going to touch on a recruitment process here very quickly, just hit some bullet points so you sort of know what to expect going forward. We'll be providing more information to you in the very near future about that. As part of our process, we're going to develop a candidate profile. I'll come back and talk about that in just a minute. We advertise the job. We do what I call a recruitment brochure. It's sort of a marketing piece to kind of get the opportunity out there and to sell it to some folks who may not be currently looking for a job, especially. We recruit candidates. We do screening of candidates. We do preliminary interviews of candidates in preparation for making recommendations to you. Right around that time, we're also doing public record searches just to see what we need to know that's out there, or what we need to know about any particular candidate that we're talking with. We make recommendations to you, and then final interviews happen, and that's where you do your interview process here at the city. Part of that ongoing process, we'll do background checks, we'll do reference checks, we'll do all the things that we need to do to make sure everything is nice and clean and clear and held steady along the way and moving forward as it should. And again, we're very objective, we're very upfront, we make sure that nobody can come back and question the process, because that's one of the worst things that can happen in something like this. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. I mentioned I would come back to the very first item of developing the candidate profile, and just to let you know very quickly, we're reaching out to your aides now to schedule time to talk with each of you individually, hopefully in the next 2 weeks is my goal, and spend some time talking with you about what exactly should we be looking for in the next city manager of Tallahassee. And there's a lot of questions that go with that. So we have a long list of questions for you. But that said, I just wanted you to know that that's our first step, and we are already in the process of starting that. I'm going to pause here and see if anybody has any questions.
Oh, I'm sure we do. Questions?
I figured.
Nope. Forward.
Questions? Okay. So the timeline that we have right now would get us to about September. I think in our presentation it states that negotiations and appointment would happen in September with our current timeline. That's our standard timeline, if you will. And then there's an alternative pathway that it could be postponed. I know we're looking at changes in the commission seats over the next few months. And there was some conversations about when we should straddle that, if you will, and how that would work out. So I think that's what the alternative pathway is based on, is if we should, in fact, I'm not going to say slow the process down or pause the process, although, you know, it's like when you're planning a big event. You go from the date it's going to happen, right, when you want them to come in to be hired as your city manager, and you work your way back. So we have a little bit of lag time here, but it's not going to slow us down. We're going to be going ahead and setting up meetings with all of you individually to find out and get your input on what we should be looking for, so we can start the strategy of how do we recruit for that particular ideal candidate. So that said, I think that's it for information I was planning to share today. If there's any other questions or any questions at all?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, so the questions that you are going to ask us,
Yes.
will you provide us with those questions ahead of time, or?
I will. I also can just give you kind of a gist of what those kind of things are. It's basically, what do you feel we need in the next city manager? What kind of strengths, what kind of experience, what kind of background, the management style. We'll probably talk about the timeline again in our meetings a little bit. Talk about any issues or challenges or opportunities for the new city manager. I want to highlight that in some of our marketing materials. And qualifications, as I mentioned, education experience, We'll talk about, probably mention salary and what we can expect, and then even benefits and things like that. But yes, Commissioner, to answer your question, I will send that to you in advance.
Thank you.
Great, questions? Questions? Commissioner Matlow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think there's a long standard awareness that there's been a lack of collegiality, so to speak, on this board. And with this decision coming in September, 50 days before new people will be sitting up here, in your professional opinion, do you think that would have an impact on the types of candidates who would like to apply and consider relocating here?
I think candidates do like to know who their bosses are going to be, but they live in this world. This is the world they function in and have for probably many years, worked with several different boards, had changeover of commission members many times during their tenure at some place. Matter of fact, that's the kind of candidate I actually look for. I like to see people who have been able to navigate changes on the board, right? That tells me they have a certain skill set. So that said, I think it's kind of split the difference, but what I will tell you is that I do want to get your input as a board. I don't want to wait to get the new commission's input because you've served all this time now. You have a lot of information for me, and I need that. I need to understand that. And if we move forward to September and make a decision, so be it. There are a lot of things, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, Commissioner, so excuse me already. There are a lot of things that can discourage a candidate from applying, a lot. A lot of times it's just the fact that we're in the sunshine. I love the sunshine. I live in it, and I work in it, and I understand it, and I get what it's for. But it is difficult for people in public sector leadership positions to put their name in the hat for an opportunity in another place because it's all open. Everything is open. They take a risk even thinking about it and putting their name in the hat. So there's a lot of things that play into what helps us and what doesn't help us. That is one thing. The reality is we will know, and let me see if I can say this right, we will know of a group of people who could be seated, right? We'll know who they are by the time we get closer, before September. We'll know who the possibilities are, is what I'm saying. So I think that kind of brings it back in and gives us a little more comfort level of candidates would apply and would be willing to come, knowing that in 2 months, really probably 3 because they have to be seated, that they may have different faces sitting there. I think it's kind of a courtesy too that perhaps and I'll work with the attorney's office to make sure that we're not violating anything in the charter, but perhaps me having a conversation with these potential commissioners as they become known would probably buy us a lot of goodwill along the way and probably give the candidates some comfort level. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
No, it's helpful. My only other question was on the timeline that we're under for the job to actually be posted and released. Is that before our next city commission meeting, or is this, which is August 26th?
I hope to meet with all of you prior to that, and as soon as I meet with you, I'm on go. Because I need to hear what you have to tell me in order for me to set up our strategy for this search. We use a familiar process with probably all of our recruitments to some level, the same steps that I mentioned to you. And, I know every city is different, but every city is alike in a lot of ways too. So what we need to know is really what we need here, because when we launch out and start recruiting, we need to be real specific who we're going after, what kind of background, what kind of experience. I can tell you that we recruit for diversity, and I mean diversity in every form of the word, right? I want different experiences. I want them to have come at this in a different way. I want different genders, different ethnicities, different, you name it. I want you to have choices. I want you to not have the same cookie cutter candidate 5 times over to pick from. I want you to have choices. And my goal, just so you all know, I'll give you a heads up, is to make your decision very, very difficult because you have such good candidates. And that's when I look at you and say, hey, you got to make the decision now, right? That's my goal. And we do need to do whatever we can to protect the search and to protect the process so we do get good candidates. We want the best. And I'm not just saying that because I live in Tallahassee, but I do want the best.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. So on that, and since it is our, I guess, our last meeting to really give direction on the job description before it's posted, I'd like to make a motion that we accept that.
No, we haven't even had public
Oh, I'm sorry.
testimony.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay. Do we have any, thank you very much. Just stay tuned if we have more questions.
We do have one speaker, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, Ernie Payne. Speakers will have 3 minutes for remarks. The light will turn yellow at the 30-second mark.
Name and address for the record, please.
Bernie Payne, 2006 East Indian Head Drive. Thank you, Commissioners. Narlock and Associates have begun an orderly process for managing the most important duty that this or any city commission will conduct, the appointment of a new city manager. This process has been made more complex and difficult because it is occurring during a period of transition in city government. Regardless of the outcome of the coming election, there will be at least one new face up there next year, and possibly as many as 3. That fact alone will make it more difficult in many ways. Most importantly, the city manager candidate pool will be diminished from the start, as many potential candidates, probably the most experienced of them, might choose not to apply. The makeup of the government that they would be coming into would be too uncertain. Narlock seems to be sensitive to the situation and has provided the option for extending the timeline for the process to take it beyond the election if needed. I urge you to consider this seriously. Government transition at the highest level is always an uncertain time. The federal government has acknowledged that and has, from the time of Harry Truman, brought the 2 finalists for the office of the president into consultation in the most highly sensitive parts of government decision-making before the presidential elections. Respectfully, I urge you to follow this example. After the August 18 primary election, the number of candidates for each of the 3 commission seats in contention will be shrunk to no more than 2. I'm suggesting that each of these finalists be brought in for the interview stage of the city manager appointment process, both out of fairness for the city manager candidates who will have the opportunity to interact with the people who will eventually be evaluating them, and also to receive input from the commission candidates in the decision-making process. The only way to reestablish public trust in the transparency of this selection will be to ensure that the people of Tallahassee, through the electoral process, have a say in who will be managing their city, possibly for long after each of your terms have completed. Don't rush this. Give the people, the electoral process, the respect that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
I have no other speakers on this item.
All right, Commissioner Matlow for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to make a motion that we accept the update, but also update the current job description that was the last time we did this process to require a master's degree.
Second that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand the last part of your motion.
Just to update the job description to require a master's degree.
Mr. Mayor, Sandra, do you have the description that you could read to the commission on the topic that Commissioner Matlow's speaking of? And Commissioners, this would be entirely, if you want to change it, I think it's an easy change. Sandra, I think, fingers crossed, she has it. She can read it to you, and certainly something we can incorporate at this point. Sorry to put you on the spot, Sandra.
All right, possession of bachelor's degree with an emphasis in public or business administration, at least 10 years of senior management experience, and public administration, preferably with a municipality of similar size and complexity. A master's degree is preferred.
That's what's in there today. I believe that Commissioner Matlow's speaking of updating that. And so that's a pretty simple statement. If you want to update it, we can update it at your direction.
Renee, can I ask you a question? I mean, what's your recommendation? Do we need to update this or not?
It doesn't cause me any heartburn if we do not update it. I imagine the majority of the candidates that I would be bringing to you not only have a master's, that they probably have one or two or maybe more. It's just pretty standard in the industry to see people who do have them. If I was looking at someone who did not have it, I would be looking then at their experience. What do they bring? Because it is it often, and I don't think you have this necessarily in the job description, but oftentimes cities do have language that says it's or a combination of this, this, and this, training, experience, and education. So it all comes together. What I can do is certainly, and I think it's in there already, that a master's is preferred, if I heard her correctly. I think people do look at that when they apply, especially if they do meet those preferred qualifications. We will have probably some other preferred language in there for you to review. Also, once we have talked with everyone, if we find there's a common thread there that you're looking for, and that could be somebody with finance experience or budget experience, which they should all have that too, to tell you the truth. But if there's anything that stands out, that's a real strong need that you would like to see in the next city manager, we might add that in the preferred section. But I'm comfortable either way, Mayor. I know that doesn't help, but I'm comfortable either way.
Thank you. Sounds good. I'm comfortable leaving the language as it is right now, and then if the recommendation comes through, after you interview all of us, that's exactly what we want, and we can change it then, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Commissioner Williams-Cox.
My question is has the job already been posted?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it had already been posted.
The job hasn't been posted in external places, meaning we haven't put it with Florida League of Cities or FCCMA or others yet, ICMA and others. We have posted it on our website, and it for a few days said coming soon, just because word got out really fast, and we started getting phone calls right away. We hear you're doing this. And who knows? I mean, it's a tight-knit group, I can't really speak to where that came from, but what I didn't want was people going there and there being nothing there. I wanted to, validate that we have been selected, and this was since your last meeting. So Sandra and I worked to put something up, and then we worked worked a little bit on a kind of a general ad on there, just to kind of keep people's attention. The important part of it is when we posted that position on our website, people could immediately apply for it. And that's what I didn't want to do, is lose anybody for any reason. So the answer is it's posted where people can find us and apply for it. And I have had some calls about it already. And different city managers reaching out saying, hey, congratulations on Tallahassee and what have you. So that's the conversations are starting. Once we meet with you in the next 2 weeks, probably same day after our meetings conclude, all of the actual ad will be teed up. We'll revise it based on our conversations, and it will go live then. Okay. So we are going live now, and that's when the buzz really starts happening. People.
And that is what they see, the description that was just read, that is what they're seeing now?
Yes, they'll see some of that information in the ad. The ad will be a little bit, the ad will give some information about, this is the City of Tallahassee, for people who are not here, right? This is what it's about. This is kind of the structure of the organization, size, the budget, all those things that they need to know and want to know about, and number of FTEs. And then we'll get into the requirements, which we were just talking about. And then the ad wraps up saying this is how to apply. I want to let you know we make it so easy for people to apply. They don't have to go through this long, arduous process. These people are busy, and they appreciate that. Yeah. And so they can apply, and they have that information. And then the ad that we post, in addition to that, we do the marketing brochure, which I told you about. And that's where we get really detailed. We go down in the weeds there, and candidates love that. They just love it. It gives them everything they need to know. It talks about the community in detail for those that are not here. It talks about the organization in detail. It gives what a manager wants to know about how many commissioners are there, what are the terms, how are you elected. This is all good data for candidates. Because you have to understand, when they get that brochure in their hand and they're going to get it, I got that long to really grab their attention and pull them in and say, call me, right? So we go through the organization, and then we go through the job itself, includes some of the things from the job description, and then we have this ideal candidate section. And that's the section that gets written after I speak with each of you to understand what does our ideal candidate look like. Then we have how to apply in the compensation section and all that. So it tells a story. It tells a full story. It's very effective. Candidates love getting it to this day because they only have this long to really, process that much information, and it's helpful to them. And so we want to make sure that we get that all pulled together too around the same time. Everything starts at the same time. Then we do outreach, which I haven't talked about at all, but we're very aggressive in outreach. People are going to hear from us so many times, they'll probably just call us to stop us from calling them, But that's what we want. We want to talk to people. We want to tell them about how great Tallahassee is, which I can do that, and get them interested in the opportunity. Because we're not just looking for people who are looking for a job right now, right? We want people who aren't looking for jobs. We want people who are busy doing their jobs. We want to pull them away from a good gig, right? And get them to come here to Tallahassee.
Okay. I just wanted to, because if it's already out there, we don't need to be changing anything, in my opinion.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here and for everything that you've shared. Just one question, and I have a couple comments. With whom will we be communicating as commissioners? You directly? Yes. Okay, thank you. As far as how we move forward, I'm comfortable with having a minimum requirement of a master's degree. I'm not a credentialist, but I think this is a mid-sized city that, I think requiring that is pretty standard, as you said, across the board. And then finally, just as we move forward, I want to make personally clear that I'm not comfortable making a decision before the next commission is elected. I just don't think that's a good idea. I think we are going to struggle. I hope we don't, but I think that, as you said, people usually like to know who their boss is going to be. So I won't repeat what I already said at the last meeting, but I just think this, I understand why we're starting now, but I personally won't be supporting moving forward before the election. I mean, we're talking about days. We're talking about the deadline that ends, the end of September. November 3rd is the election. Some of these elections could be decided in August. So anyway, I'm comfortable with the motion that I seconded, but thank you so much for your time. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess the question that I had was, train of thought. You can come back to me.
That's right. There's a motion.
I apologize for that.
There's a motion on the table made by Commissioner Matlow, seconded by Commissioner Porter, to accept the update and add language in regarding the master's degree requirement. Yes, sir.
I just remember, Mr. Mayor, I'm comfortable with what we have currently. Personally, I might not choose someone with less than a master's degree, but I don't want to eliminate people who might be very well qualified but don't have a master's degree. I mean, we've seen that happen right here, even in Tallahassee. And so I would be comfortable with the language that we currently have going forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize for that.
Motion on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion fails 2-3 with the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. Commissioner Williams-Cox, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move to accept the update, and I would prefer to use my preferred method would be to adopt a timeline through September as you have listed.
I will second that. Further comment? Commissioner Matlow?
Thank you. The motion includes the timeline?
It does.
To have a final by September? Okay, thank you.
That's the motion I heard. Clarification,
That's
Commissioner
correct.
Williams-Cox?
That is correct.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-2 with Commissioner Porter and Commissioner Matlow in dissent. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
We're on item number 12.02. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item seeks authorization to accept and execute a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration. This grant will support critical infrastructure projects in the airport's capital improvement plan related to support safety, security, and capacity at the Tallahassee International Airport. I'd like David Pollard, our airport director, just to share just a brief overview of this. This is in a series of success that David's brought about with his relationships, his tenacity, determination. Probably add some more words in that in terms of his just love of airport and success he's brought to the international airport. But David will share with you, I'll share it before he shares it, that over the last number of years since he's been the director, we've been successful in receiving about $125 million in grants for our airport, mostly from the federal government. That's good for Tallahassee, to bring the dollars to Tallahassee. And so, David, if you can give us a summary of what this involves.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I really appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. This is, yes, as Reese mentioned, it's very important to what we do out there at the airport. I think we've been very successful pulling in those funds from both our FAA, federal funding partners, as well as the state funding partners and all. It's important that we're positioned as we continue to move ahead to be positioned to accept and execute those grants that come in. As I oftentimes say, our focus is always on safety, security, and capacity-related improvements. As you know, we've got a lot of aging infrastructure out there, and that $125 million, if you average it out over the years, we're pulling in approximately $14 million a year in funding. Along with that, we also chase other funding agreements, such as the community project funding. About $9.5 million we've pulled in from federal earmarks related to our airport and our community. Very important with what we do with aging infrastructure. We just received another one for $2.8 million for a resiliency grant. And that's at the federal level as well. And that's going to help us underground some of the electric coming into the airport. Electrification is a big issue at airports right now. As we continue to add EV chargers, we just doubled our EV charging capacity at the airport. We're adding EV chargers, level 3 and level 2 chargers at our new rental car service facility, for example. So these improvements are necessary as we continue to deal with changing FAA design criteria, federal requirements, state requirements, things of that nature. So certainly would appreciate your support.
Excellent. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Williams-Cox.
I want to be sure I understand. You're asking for authorization to receive some free money?
Yes, ma'am.
So move.
Second. Been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Passes unanimously 5-0. Item 12.04, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir. 12.03.
Three, excuse me.
It also involves the airport, Phase 2 of Taxiway Bravo project. I'll ask David just to give us an update on that one, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Again, this project is to complete, we call runway 927 our primary runway. This is the parallel taxiway that you get to the runway from the terminal in South and North Aprons. So obviously, again, it's aging infrastructure, the pavement condition. And so we've worked with FAA, who asked us a while back to bid the whole project. Due to the amount of the bids and the funding strategy that we put together with the FAA, we broke it into 2 phases. All right, so the project was bid and awarded previously at a previous commission meeting, awarded Phase 1. This is Phase 2 that does the other half. We had to take the whole taxiway, divide it in 2, and accomplish what we could until the remaining funds came in, which they just did.
All right. Commissioner Porter with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just help me understand. But we're not just approving Phase 2, because my understanding was I thought we'd had approved Phase 2, we just approved a different amount, and now we're approving more than we had previously approved.
Actually, this is less. Than the bid amounts. The actual bid schedule was attached to the original agenda item, and this amount that's reflected here is a lesser amount. The amount that was bid from the contractor was $14,911,842.56. This is coming in actual due to the schedule of values and us working on some strategies to reduce that cost. Is coming in at $12,770,030. On top of that is the construction inspection services and a project contingency of 7.5%.
Question.
Okay, I'm just a little confused. It says this item seeks approval to add $14,887,568 in funding for Phase 2.
Yes, that's.
So we're not adding anything, you're saying?
We're adding the funding that we're receiving from the FAA.
Okay, so that's all I'm trying to understand.
Yes.
So we received it, so that's why we are adjusting the budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I move option number 1.
Just a second. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Porter. Is there a second? I'm sorry. Seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you. We're on item number 12. 12.04 has been removed.
12.04.
12.04.
Yes, sir, we added that one. That's new.
Oh, you added it. I'm sorry. 12.04.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This item, I believe it was the last meeting you authorized the process to rename West Carolina Street from North Adams Street to South Copeland Street to Reverend Jesse Jackson Street. That process has begun to collect signatures necessary to rename that. I believe there are 29 properties that are addressed in that segment of roadway, and that is happening as we speak. We believe that process will be done within a couple weeks, recognizing that your next commission meeting isn't until the end of August. We're seeking your authorization to move forward with this upon successful completion of the signatures. That will allow us to continue forward with the renaming of what's West Carolina Street today to Jesse Jackson Street. We ask for your approval of this item.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
Mayor, we have one speaker on this item, Stanley Sims.
Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Stanley Sims. I'm at 1320 Barack Obama Way. I am support of Jesse Jackson. We done did Jesse. We done did Ms. Gibson. We did a lot of black folks. When are we gonna get to the president? Quincy has Barack Obama Road. Commissioner Williams-Cox, Quincy beat us to the punch.
We always do.
So, as a very, very strong person of boom shakalaka, shakalaka boom, I'm supporting this 100%, but Mr. Manager, we need to be looking at that Obama road, you know? So, thank y'all. Pray for me.
Is there a motion for recommended action?
So moved.
Probably moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously 5-0. Do we have anything else to come before us under policy formation and direction?
No, sir.
We're on unagended speakers with a 30-minute limit. Mr. Clerk, do we have unagended speakers?
Yes, sir, we do, Mayor. We have half dozen speakers.
Great.
And we will take the first one is Douglas Hahn, followed by Elizabeth Belkin. And as with our earlier speakers, you'll have 3 minutes. The light in front of the mayor will turn from green to yellow at 30 seconds, and I will also give you a heads up.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Doug Hahn, 2072 Florida Avenue, here in Tallahassee. I come here today, thank you for listening to me, commissioners, 4 years ago, the City Commission was asked for $1 million to implement a program on evidence-based gun violence reduction. Give you an idea of where we stand today, there was a 27% reduction in gun homicides from the top level during the pandemic in 1921 nationwide. In the city of Tallahassee, 2021, we had 16 homicides. Next year, we had 19, followed by 24. In 2024, we had 26, and last year we had 23. This year, in 5 months, we've had 10 homicides. I don't see a reduction happening. Last year alone, nationwide, we had a 20% reduction in gun violence. I don't see that in Tallahassee. Where did that money go? Well, last month, the commission issued a proclamation for Gun Violence Awareness Day. Last Friday, a group of gun violence advocates, the Moms Demand Action, the gun survivors, met at the bridge overlooking Monroe, and I talked with our police chief. The police chief spoke on guns being taken from unlocked cars. It's been an issue with this city. And I reflected back to him that part of the $1 million that the city granted, a large portion went to the Urban League. Where do they spend their money? They spend it on billboards and signage to have people lock their cars. It was ineffective. Another large chunk went to the Council for the Status of Men and Boys. What are they doing with the money today? They're having a summer camp for youth. They're sponsoring basketball tournaments. That is not going to solve the problem. Crime Solvers was given another huge chunk. What did they do with the money? Lord knows, but it doesn't, they, again...
You're at 30 seconds.
Well, okay. Again, I see a lot of money being spent, and I see no one looking to see where it's gone and what the effectiveness is. The problem's gotten worse, not better. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
Elizabeth Belkin, and then Dot Inman Johnson.
Right. Your name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Elizabeth Belkin, 1662 Cross Point Way, Tallahassee, Florida. I am having a petition from residents of Township 1 North. I'm a member there. I prepared that and I want to read it as fast as possible. I would love to show a map.
Can we get the map feature? Perfect.
The residents of Township 1 North respectfully request that the City of Tallahassee inspect, maintain, and if necessary, replace the deteriorating double culvert located at the intersection of Goodwood Drive and Town Bridge Road. It's very hard to follow it because, if you can see the map exactly, really impossible. The culvert system currently manages substantial stormwater runoff from Benton Oaks, Brown Court, Miccosukee Hills, and the Select Specialty Hospital Complex. Recent development, construction, and deforestation in the surrounding area have significantly increased stormwater runoff, resulting in repeated flooding over the culvert bridge and visible soil erosion. We have documented these conditions and can provide photographic evidence. We appreciate the city's recent infrastructure improvements nearby. At Goodwood Drive and Brown Street, you improved the culverts. It was excellent work by the city engineering department. I was extremely impressed how they did that. They had a huge crane. They brought like a sock in there. They moved it down the bridge and they increased it and reinforced a culvert that is 15 meters among 2 bridges. Are you aware of that infrastructure that was done 3 years ago? No. Okay. However, the culverts beneath the entrance to Town Bridge remain a serious safety concern because of our residents pay monthly stormwater fees to the city. We respectfully request the same level of maintenance, protection, and infrastructure support that has been provided to neighboring areas. Our homeowners association has contacted the city on several occasions regarding the deteriorating culvert. The Public Infrastructure Engineering Department has declined assistance
You're at about 30 seconds.
based on the position that the ditch appears to be located on our property. The ditches have been moved several times over the years. The city has closed some ditches in the area and then opened up other ditches. So we have maybe 15 meters of ditch left that goes through the culvert. So all we are asking is that the city take responsibility and fix those culverts. The Home Association would be willing to fix the
You're
bridge.
at 3 minutes.
So,
Thank you.
can I leave that for you?
You can give it to that gentleman right there, and he will get it to us. Thank you.
Ma'am, if you don't mind, I think Eric Gooch, are you back there? No? Allison, will you help coordinate contact information?
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Our next speaker, please.
Dot Inman Johnson, followed by Jonathan Gardner.
Great. Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
Dot Inman Johnson, 2121 Trescott Drive, Tallahassee. The meeting at 1 o'clock today, the budget meeting, was almost an embarrassment to call it a budget workshop and a public hearing, since there was no detailed information provided to the public to react to or give feedback on to the commission. I hope you will do better with the next budget workshop and public hearing. There really should have been a discussion of each department's budget, what the challenges are going forward for the next year, what deficits there are, and what you are doing, options for what is being recommended to address budget shortfalls. We've had a bad year with the budget. We have lost from $1 to $2 million in a scam. We have lost money with a ballooning budget for the police complex, and we are leaving older parts of our city without the needs being addressed with aging infrastructure, while we are spending money in newly or recently annexed areas. So I was very interested in the fact that we are annexing more property that will not be developed for a while, that we will have to spend taxpayer dollars running infrastructure into when we need stormwater improvements in places like Jake Gaither and the issue brought by the speaker before me in older parts of the city. I hope that the next budget session will provide some information to us to respond to. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Jonathan Gardner, followed by Stanley Sims.
Name and address for the record, please.
Hi there, my name is Jonathan Gardner. I'm at 3687 Donovan Drive. I do have some information that I'd like to give to the bailiff. There are 5 copies of those for the commissioners.
Great.
So what I'm providing you there is an example of policy from the City Council of Austin, Texas, which has recently put forward what they call the Trust Act. And what that policy basically does is it provides some protections for public surveillance tools that are being applied rapidly across our nation. And so Why should I give this to you? Why am I giving it to you? In December of this past year, the TPD deputy chief stated that 30 or more of the flock cameras were obtained for investigative purposes. Again, these flock cameras feed into a searchable database that records every single car that passes by. City ordinance for the speed cameras, the speed camera project in which these were obtained under, makes no mention of cameras for that other purpose, the investigative purposes. When the public comment about the vendor, Red Speed, was made, there was also no public comment made about these being added with that ordinance, to my knowledge. I could, of course, be wrong. But it seems like that the city obtained these devices under the pretense of a school safety program, but was actually for investigative purposes. And so community members see these cameras being put up, they look them up on the internet, they see numerous examples of abuse and misuse nationwide, and they wonder why the city and county has had little to no discussion on safeguards and accountability. I looked up TPD's policies on license plate readers and found that the query section was completely redacted. It is in that report that I gave you there. Also, some of the guidelines were redacted. This appears to be an extreme lack of transparency, and explicit guidelines are not had, and I believe that the Trust Act goes a long way in doing that. These cameras provide what we call an intimate window into the privacies of life, and I think that they are helpful tools for our law enforcement. They will definitely tell you that. But we need to have explicit guardrails to protect our cities, especially from interests outside of our jurisdiction, specifically Department of Homeland Security, ICE, as well as third-party companies that would like to collect our data and use it to build profiles on us, for example, Palantir.
You have about 20 seconds.
So without these legislative protections, I fear we're on a trajectory towards that. And I urge you to start at least a conversation about this and make strides to protect the rights of people of our county and city. I believe we would benefit from following Austin's example. Please take a look. I've earmarked the summary of that in the middle of that document. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Stanley Sims, followed by Kashif Shabazz.
Name and address for the record, please.
1320 Barack Obama Way. Mayor, I'm complexed here because the day has been going so beautiful for me. I've been name-checked by our city manager in a positive way. But I gotta say something about your comments, Mr. Mayor, at the last meeting. I wasn't here, I was at my house. I'm very protective of my friends. And Commissioner Madlow is my friend. But you made a statement that troubled me. You said, as long as I am mayor, you will dictate what Mayor Madlow, Commissioner Madlow, can do or not do. But you don't have that authority. You don't even have the authority to make you mayor. The citizens of Tallahassee did that. You made the decision to run. We made the decision to grant it. And what bothers me is you show so much emotion getting on Madlow, but Madlow confessed. The Bible says if we confess our sins, God is righteous and just to forgive us. But when Albina Aljamoda did all those negative text messages about me, Bill Proctor, Christian Caban, Wayne Tedder from the big city of Perry, where those two black legislators couldn't even get a drink in his city, but he can judge the work performance of our former city attorney, Cassandra Jackson, which led to her leaving faster than she planned to. And you didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. So I'm confused. It's not about what's right, or is it about who's right? We need to be consistent.
You're at 30 seconds.
Consistent. That's all I'm asking for. I want to thank the city manager. I didn't have as much problems parking up under the building today, and I appreciate that. So maybe we are slowly walking to a better place for the both of us, because I ain't going nowhere. As long as the Lord keep me, I'm going to stay right here. And God is a keeper. He watches me by
You're
day
at 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
and by night. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking about the Lord.
No, your time is up. Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Kashif Shabazz.
Your next speaker?
Eleanor, is it Harnage? I know it's Eleanor. I'll be corrected if I got the last name wrong.
Your name and address for the record, please.
It is actually Eleanor Harnage. Good job. Like Carnage with an H. And I'm at 911 Dolores Drive. So good evening, afternoon, everyone. It's been 6 months since I've been in City Hall, so I hope everybody's doing good. I'm here representing my group, Strong Towns Tallahassee, again, to share a perspective on item 1101 involving annexing all that land up north. Basically, I want to make the case that annexation of any land should never be a routine or easy decision for a municipality because, in our opinion, it's one of the most consequential long-term financial decisions a city can make. We're agreeing to take on decades, at least, of financial liabilities that 1 or 2 years of our standard budget balancing is never going to capture. For example, roads have to be repaved every 30 years-ish. In that time, I'm going to be 57. And still puttering around Tallahassee, hopefully, so I'm less concerned about any short-term revenue that the land might make, and more about the future. Roads, water pipes, and emergency services are a set of promises to future residents, like me, maybe, that have basically infinity-long payment plans. So it's like Klarna on steroids. So any decisions about expanding those services should be treated with the seriousness of issuing long-term debt, because that's basically what we're signing up for. The number one Strong Towns opinion is if the long-term cost of maintaining our wonderful service standards exceeds the long-term tax revenue of the land, then that's not a financially sound decision. It's the kind of thing that weakens a town over time, and I literally started a group called Strong Towns Tallahassee, so I can't be having that. To that end, I'm working with FSU professors to chart out the financial trajectory of the city over decades, not just years, to help bring visuals to these kinds of decisions, but until we have those kinds of calculations ready and easy to look at, I urge the commission to hold off on annexing any more land. In the end, we want to have a community that's resilient and can afford to keep its promises, to repave roads, to have safe drinking water and good fire response times. We want old folks' pensions to be paid, et cetera. We already have plenty of people that deserve our care within Tallahassee and plenty of land that can be made more productive if we so choose. So I think we should leave it at that for now. And if anyone wants to meet with me after this to chat, I'll be posted up at Amicus for a little bit. So that's it. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Mayor, unless there's someone who has not filled out a speaker card, that's the last speaker.
All right, let's go to the sharing of ideas. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll start with you.
I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to encourage everyone, to announce and to encourage everyone, we're having some street renamings next week. One is honorary designation of Jim Lee Road for former school board member Maggie Lewis Butler. That will take place on Monday, June 22nd at 10 a.m. at James S. Rickards High School, the Media Center. The second one is the renaming for Reverend Ernest Farrell. That will take place on June 26th. I believe it's at 10 or 11 at St. Mary Primitive Baptist Church is where that ceremony will be taking place. And that is being advertised on city website and through all of our usual channels. And I want to say congratulations to Coach Rudy Hubbard, who was honored this past weekend and was inducted into the Black College Hall of Fame. Well, you wonder why there has to be a Black College Hall of Fame? Well, I'll let you figure that out. But he was inducted for his years of work, the success that he had at Florida A&M, along with some other HBCU coaches along the way. So I just want to say publicly, I've said it to him, sent him a text to congratulate him, but to congratulate him on that mighty feat. And I also want to say this, since this is our last commission meeting before the summer, I want to thank Ms. Cheryl Collier-Brown and her sidekick, Ms. Madison. Madison, stand up. Madison came to one of our previous meetings. She's on summer hiatus with her godmother, and so she wanted to come back today. So I'm hoping that one day you'll want to come closer and sit here. So thank you for coming and participating in your government. That's all that I have, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few items. First, I want to thank Mr. Gardner for the research that you brought today. I too share your concerns about surveillance, mass surveillance, and making sure we have proper guardrails in place to protect the people of Tallahassee. I'm going to read this and review what Austin, Texas did, but would love to further that conversation in the future. My second item, Mr. Mayor, I think we need to, all across the country, we're seeing a proliferation of large-scale AI data centers. They've been environmentally destructive, have tremendous environmental concerns on both water quality, air quality, not to mention the need to generate a tremendous amount of power. On the largest scale, they generate the equivalent to the power of the entirety of New York City. These are things unlike anything any city has ever seen before in our history, and I think looking at Tallahassee, our land development code and our ordinances don't speak directly to these facilities and where they should be built. You know, it was recently reported in the newspaper that we have a land shortage. I think as we're a growing city and we concentrate on things like urban infill and making sure we have the amount of housing needed in our community, we don't have the availability of hundreds of acres to sacrifice for data centers or large-scale AI data centers that are harmful to our environment, particularly when we have such a responsibility to protect the Florida aquifer and our neighboring water bodies. So my stance has been clear. We should not allow large-scale AI data center facilities to be built within the city limits. I know last night the county commission adopted a one-year moratorium in the rural county, but I would like to see us go even further and just say, we don't have land for them, we don't have space for them, and we don't want our public utility entering into power purchase agreements with these types of facilities. As we expand our solar capacity that we've talked about earlier this year, we need to make sure that new energy we're generating is going to power the existing residents and homes that live here, and we don't get into a battle with something that frankly doesn't generate anything for the people who live here. And then on a larger horizon is creating AI functions that are likely going to take their jobs. So people are being asked to bear the brunt of the environmental devastation that these things can cause and then have an economic impact on the tail end. So I'd like to propose a three-part motion. One, to initiate a one-year moratorium on any applications for data centers coming to Tallahassee. Second, bring back an item to adopt an ordinance or changes to our land development code to define these facilities and prohibit them within city limits. And third, our public utility not entering into power purchase agreements with facilities this size.
Motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Manager, I'm going to ask you to expand here for a second. But we have had a presentation before this commission on these data centers.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
And remind me now, we do not have anywhere within the city limits that could possibly be zoned appropriately, nor is it included in the comprehensive plan. There's no possible way for it to happen, correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I think, related to this discussion, that the City Commission is in very good shape because local law does not allow for the data centers. They cannot exist in Tallahassee today based on the comp plan and land use ordinances. So a moratorium would not even be necessary because they cannot be located given the current local law. That's true in the county, too. I did confirm that today. Previously, we'd not been looking at the county, but I did see the news from the county commission meeting, and I thought that was the case. I've confirmed that. And so as it relates to the ability via zoning, if you will, they can't be located in Tallahassee and Leon County. And so that's, I think, good news toward the objective of forestalling any location here. There are a lot of other practical reasons I think they couldn't be located here as well, but that, as it relates to the controlling land use comp plan, they're prohibited.
Okay, there's a motion on the table with a second. All those in favor of Commissioner Matlow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And respectfully, what we're seeing across the state and the country, and you're talking about companies who have much more expensive lawyers than we have, looking at places where solar farms are able to be sited or large battery storage or industrial uses and trying to make the case. In fact, that's exactly what we saw in Jackson County, who also adopted just yesterday a ban by ordinance. So, I mean, these are additional protections that we can put in place to ensure they don't come. And I hear you, Mr. City Manager, looking at how it looks today. They shouldn't be allowed, but we don't want to end up in a policy where they're not defined in the land development code at all, and I think that is the issue. We need to define them specifically, what they are, what size we're talking about, what scale we're talking about, and make sure they're prohibited in all of our land use categories. That's what I'm asking for. In addition, as it stands today, if one were to be built in Wakulla County or Jefferson County and seek to be powered through the City of Tallahassee utility, we want to make sure that nothing going through the city utility is going to be used to power one of these facilities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. Mr. Manager, under our current grid in our generation system within the City of Tallahassee, #1 public utility named a few years ago, would we even have the capacity to even come close to being able to power one of these facilities without significant investment in new generation and distribution?
No, sir. And if you don't mind, let me address Commissioner Matlow's point, because I think your question is totally appropriate, but to get in the right order. You do have a matter of record. You received an email on September 16th from me that was forwarded from our planning group. I think that gives you really good standing in terms of the interpretation of our comp plan and code. I see no risk in the ability for somebody to circumvent that. I just wanted you to know that there's record. You initiated it. It's good. I think the City Commission was way ahead of the game on this last September. Y'all talked about it and have clearly established a record. They're not allowed. But to your point, Mr. Mayor, we of course pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world. We have one of the best electric utilities anywhere. We're vertically integrated. We have 2 power plants. We have a large solar farm. We have a distributed generation facility by the hospital. I mean, we are of the most sophisticated kind of utility there is. The information that we were able to gain in our research of these data centers, which are mega, that's probably not even the best word to use. They're unbelievably energy intensive and water intensive. I think that's the nature of the conversation. From our information we've gathered, we would need to triple the size of our generating capacity. So
This is the first time you've ever had your own background music. During a full explanation of a very serious issue.
I was going to work my way right into the rhythm.
Yeah, I think that had the calming effect here.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Mr. Manager.
But and so what you see is, I mean, if you can imagine, only theoretically could you even build capacity to meet that need. And so you see data centers that are proposed around the country trying to find a way to meet their energy needs. It would be impractical for Tallahassee to triple its capacity. There's tons of risk with that, but it would just, for lots and lots of reasons, it would be impractical. So I think that, that reveals the impracticality in Tallahassee of a data center. I think it's obviously furthered by your limitation of law and the ability to cite them. So I think the objective of not allowing data centers in Tallahassee is easily accomplished. As well as Leon County for that matter.
The motion on the table made by Commissioner
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Matlow.
And I think we may be having two different conversations. We're not saying the largest possible data center that they're building in the country. If you look at something like Utah, but these come in all shapes and sizes. As we even confirmed at the last meeting, there's already data centers in Tallahassee on a much smaller scale. But when we look at something that uses 50 megawatts of power, something we could generate with the solar farms proposed in our area, that is a scale that we could power through our utility, and it's something that could be cited here. So, I mean, the vote is clear. Do we want to prohibit these from coming in the future, or do we not? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, they're currently prohibited. I will not support the motion. All those in favor of the motion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Say, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, it's not up to us. I don't want to use the word fear-mongering, but that's almost what this sounds like. And we have been ahead of this, obviously.
Right.
It's not something that we've ignored. We've addressed it. And so I don't see the need for additional moratoriums or motions against something because it's something that we cannot do. We've shown that in the city of Tallahassee. And I want to thank the city manager for the leadership that he and his staff have provided in putting us ahead on issues like this. And we see that there are local communities surrounding us now that are just now dealing with these issues, and we've addressed it months ago. And so we got to be careful about what we put out in the public. And if I have to use the word fear-mongering, then that's the word I would have to use. We don't want to fear-monger among our residents and make them think that we're considering something that we're not.
There is a motion, Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Let me just weigh in, Mayor, because what I want to have happen is when it's said, I want it to be recorded what I did say so that it's not misconstrued. I too am thankful that we have dealt with this and we've addressed it. It is in writing. And so when I make my vote, it's not that I'm voting against anything. I'm voting based on the information that has been provided, that we're already covered and is already prepared for. So just want to put that on the record.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the table signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
And the motion fails 3-2 with the Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. Commissioner Matlow, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And since our last meeting, we've had a lot of updates on the situation related to the HUD, lead abatement grants issued by the city. Well, I was appreciative to see the report from Tallahassee Police Department finding no criminal activity. Everything else I read in the report was very, very troubling of how we're doing things in the city of Tallahassee. Reading everything that took place, it really wasn't clear where the public sector ended and the private sector began. There were huge red flags in the management of these federal grants, a lack of understanding of the basic rules and procedures, which resulted in the taxpayers of Tallahassee having to spend millions of their own local tax dollars to replace doorways on a private property. Many of those doors didn't even test positive for lead at all. At the last meeting, lots of accusations were made against me personally from Mayor Daley, which I find an inappropriate use of this body to be used for political grandstanding and runs contrary to all established rules of order, including Robert's Rules of Order, which we try to follow at this meeting. Since the last meeting, HUD has determined that the city, in fact, did not, was in significant noncompliance and has demanded repayment of over $1 million. I understand the city wants to appeal that decision. I was chastised by the mayor in identifying an employee that signed off on the invoices, and after apologizing to the manager for confusion with his brother-in-law, I asked the city manager directly, was this the individual that signed off on these invoices? He said no. In the investigative report released by Tallahassee Police Department, Dr. Thomas confirmed this was the individual that signed all invoices on behalf of the head of the department. Mr. Manager, you lied to this commission. We should be able to get direct answers. In an attempt to embarrass me and to distract from the very real issues with this grant, this is the path we went down. And there are a lot of issues with this grant and what happened here in the city of Tallahassee. And it's much higher than just the $9,000 per door, which I think a lot of us can realize is way too high for the type of work we are doing. It looks like, in addition to what we've paid the contractor, over $11,000 in $250 Visa gift cards were purchased on a city P card to be distributed to the residents. I don't think we have any policies or procedures over how that's happened. While many of the gift cards are accounted for, not all of them are. That's an issue. Paying the property owner to rent out vacant units that are unclean, and then the city paying the cleaning fee, even though the property owner says they're unclean. Why are we paying to rent something that is unclean from a property owner? Every time a tenant rotated through these units, every 2 to 3 days, another $650 cleaning fee was charged. Anybody who operates an Airbnb or a hotel can tell you that that is a ridiculous expenditure to be charged. And I'm really not sure how we're in the place of this at all. Our job is not to go in and be the relocation experts, giving out gift cards, lining up properties, and trying to clean them. That should be what we're contracting out when we do these types of properties. The healthy homes assessments that were required before the lead abatement started were not performed. They weren't performed until after HUD investigated this year, and they were done in retrospect. The contractor calling the head of the department directly instead of the project manager. Billing a bid to dispose of the doors, and then getting paid separately to travel to dispose the doors. When we get bids from contractors, we expect them to know what is required, where they will dispose of them, and that is included in the bid, and it was included in the bid. Why then do we have a second payment for these doors disposals? And then many of the doors that were tested, that were replaced, were starter doors or tester doors that didn't test positive for lead, that were billed to a different account. Are these doors then being billed at the same rate as lead abatement doors? There's so many questions left unanswered, and those are just a few, and I have a lot more. So I want to say, when we have issues in our city, we need to address them head on. I understand it's not always perfect. I understand it's not only criminal, but don't look us in the face and tell us that this is okay. Mr. Manager, I would expect you to review this with your staff, and bring them into compliance and make sure this doesn't happen again. And I would ask the Inspector General to continue to look into this and make recommendations how we can not be in a position to where we're embarrassed like this in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On a lighter note, I would like to recognize my aide, Terry Hookfin. Many of you know Terry. She has served as my aide for the past 3 years. She started her career at the city as a mayoral fellow before transitioning to HR and then later housing before joining my office. And today is her last city commission meeting with us because she's going to be going to law school and continue her career in public service. So I wanted to say that you've really been a blessing to me and everyone you meet. You've served honorably. You've really made me proud, and you've been a true public servant. Everyone I talk to is like, Terry's amazing. She always gets back to me, and that's exactly what I hoped you would do and what you did. And so thank you so much. And so I definitely wanted to recognize your service, not only to my office, but to the city. I think you've been employed for nearly 10 years with the city. So I want to thank you so much for your service. Thank you. And then I just have a few more items. I would like we had a speaker speak to us about some of our gun violence initiatives, and I think it has been, I'd like to invite, if possible, the sheriff, extend the invitation to the sheriff's office and the Commission on the Status of Men and Boys to present an update to us on their work. And along with an update on some of the investments we've made as part of our commitment through, I believe, the CHSP program, we created a category, and I know that I think might be coming back to us in September, at least the future awards. But I would like an update on just what we've done so far, and specifically hearing from the Commission on the Status of Men and Boys and the Sheriff's Office. So I would make that motion that we send that invitation to them to come speak to us at a future meeting sometime this fall.
I'll second the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, passes unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I also want to thank Mr. Gardner for your report and your research, bringing that to our attention. I would like to learn more about what the city of Austin is doing, and other cities are as well. I personally feel responsible, having supported some of these initiatives, not believing that Flock was associated with them. And so I definitely want to know, review what you've given us and hear from staff. So I don't know if there's any interest in bringing back an informational item just with information about the Trust Act adopted in Austin and what other cities are doing. And so I would make that motion that we have an informational item come back to us with a review of what Austin and other cities, particularly in Florida, are doing to provide safeguards and transparency.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Matlow. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one final item. My understanding is that the deliverable due this week on the Southwood issue, I believe that due date was June 15th, or it's coming up because it was before us about 2 months ago. And the issue at hand being an agreement between the city and the third-party landowner, NextGen, of a right-of-way conveyance for the Orange Avenue segment. I'm wondering if we have an update on that. I did ask Mr. Doolin in my briefing yesterday, and I don't want to speak for him or anyone else, but what I was told then was that we were the city was in communication with NextGen, but we had not formalized any agreement. And so I'm just wondering if there is an update to that update, and frankly, if we don't have an agreement, kind of what is holding things up, what are the concerns? Thank you.
Mr. Reddick.
Happy to answer that, Commissioner, and I think Assistant City Manager Doolin answered that accurately for you yesterday based on what you stated. We have a drafted agreement in place. I'll say we have two separate avenues working. One, to have St. Joe, who has put forth their commitment to construct the roadway, to have that in writing to pair with the dedication of the right-of-way coming from the property owner. They have been very forthcoming in their commitment to that and how they would be willing to sign on to that. What our effort is to do this as a single agreement. At this point, it is entirely in the property owner's hands for their still review and consideration. We provided them several options of conveyance of how this could work, all tied to more of the technical aspect of timing of construction and who has ownership of the property at certain points in time during construction. But at this point, as you stated, there are ongoing conversations and discussions with the property owner, but they have not yet committed to signing on any of the options that we presented to them. You're correct that that 60-day period that you granted, I believe, is up on Monday.
Okay, thank you. I mean, do you feel like we're going, I know you cannot speak for them, but based on the conversations you've had, the direction we gave was 60 days, this is sort of the benchmark, or else, the previous direction had been that we're going to continue with a public enforcement hearing and we're going to continue in that direction. So I wouldn't want to do that if we really feel like we're we're getting there and we're close, but I guess I'm wondering where you honestly think we are, especially given that we're about to go on a break. We're about to not be meeting again until the end of August. So, I mean, there's that question to you. And then as a follow-up, what happens what is the city manager's understanding of the direction that has been given? If there's no agreement by June 15th, is something triggered that happens automatically? So there's the question to you, and then the question to either our deputy city attorney or the city manager. So I'd like clarity on both of those things. Whoever wants to go first.
Mr. Attorney.
What is the question? So my recall of what your action was is if this agreement was not in place within 60 days, that there would be a notice for an enforcement action that would then be issued. If I understand, I mean, we're coming up on that deadline. Do staff need some more time? I mean, is that what the inquiry is? Because it might be appropriate if we think that we're close to give staff a little bit more time to try to make this happen.
And I can speak a little bit to your question, Commissioner, about where we're at, where we feel like we're at. I do think progress is being made. I think we're working with an entity who was very, very much learning about a lot of this as we move through this. Now, I think your direction was very clear. I think we have, through persistent efforts from my staff and from our real estate staff and the city attorney's office, to keep making that clear of what the expectation is to this individual and who they represent in that ownership group. I still think we sort of had to start in a place where they were not familiar up front what this was all tied to and what was expected ultimately. So there's been took some time to get momentum going once they were familiar with everything. I can't speak to whether we will have a resolution by Monday from them, an agreement that they're willing to participate in. But I do know we are making progress day by day with them, and it's certainly from an effort of persistence from our side.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I?
Other people have questions.
Go ahead and finish your thought, Commissioner Porter.
Well, I'll just say, this is an action we took together. So, where I'm at is I'm open to, if there is a willingness to give a week extension or something, if we think we're close, I'm open to having that conversation. But I think, frankly, where I'm at is we gave 60 days. I think that's ample time. Once we continue with the enforcement process, if an agreement is reached, then, my understanding is an agreement is reached, and then we can, I think, pause that process again. I don't think that's, what we want is the road to be built and for there to be a clear timeline in sight. So I'm comfortable with where we are as far as the direction we already gave. But if we're in a different position, given the update, we can have that conversation. But that's where I'm at. I'm comfortable moving forward with enforcement come June 15th.
I want to state for the record that when this item came up, it passed on a 4-1 vote, and I was the one dissent. Because I stated for the record then, and I'll state for the record now, I did not believe that we would be able to get an agreement in place in 60 days, just by the sheer momentum of all the parties and the government and everybody involved. And I knew that we would probably be here. And now we're going to be faced with a decision. Are we going to go with enforcement action, or are we going to extend the deadline? So I'm in favor of extending the deadline. If we decide to go this route and not enter immediately into punitive damages, I understand that things are going well, and so we got to give them time to work the process. But I just want to go on the record that when this passed on a 4-1, I stated that night, the reason why is I didn't think we would be able to make 60-day deadline, and here we are. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, just as a matter of practical application, and the commission can provide clarity tonight if need be, we wouldn't intend to render that enforcement action without the city commission's approval.
Got it.
Now, you happen to be in a unique period where you'll have a gap in meetings. And so, in theory, we could eclipse that date. It would be our intent as staff to bring that back to the commission to authorize us then to move forward with its intent. That kind of gives you naturally a grace period, maybe not intended, but I think it just happens to be that way. If that's not the right understanding, we can course correct. We can immediately begin action right after the 15th, that's fine. But that, I think that would be the natural flow. Clearly, this is of importance. It's operating at the commission's direction. We as staff would want to make sure we're stepping through it correctly. And so that's how we would process it unless you give us different direction. Now, of course, we could stop the efforts on June 15th, wait for the commission meeting. So we could tell them, hey, we intend to proceed with this. We'll get commission direction to move forward, or we could continue on with the efforts. I mean, I think that's what we would do in the absence of any different direction. So there is kind of a uniqueness because of the timing of commission meetings, I think. But certainly looking for any clarity if that's not the right direction.
Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a clarifying question of the city manager. Why would it have to come back to us? Because I thought, I can only speak for myself, but it was my understanding that that was the direction. If we don't reach this agreement, then we move forward. Not that if we don't reach this agreement, we wait 2 months until we meet again so that we have this conversation. So is there a legal reason that it needed to come back, or that wasn't clear to me?
Mr. Mayor? No, ma'am. And if I'm not clear on the direction, please clarify that for us. We'll proceed at the commission's direction.
Okay, thank you. I can
Commissioner
only
Matlow.
speak for myself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. The direction was clear at the last meeting and confirmed with the city attorney as we crafted the motion, exactly the time frame and what would initiate an enforcement action going out. And I hear Commissioner Porter's comments today, but I do want to go back to, we're not the parties that entered into the development order to agree to build this road. We're not the party that failed to build it in time before the deadline. At our last meeting, when we did have an item on this, we had both the representative of St. Joe and the property owner, both in chambers, telling us that they had an agreement that they would be able to move forward with that. That's what the 60 days was precipitated on. I wonder, and I don't know can you elaborate on what details are slowing the process down?
Sure. I think I think it is mainly that an individual who is not entirely familiar from the start of what this development agreement entailed and their specific obligation as the property owner and how it falls within, essentially how it benefits or burdens them or otherwise as a party to the agreement. So I think
Was it compensation?
No,
Okay.
no. It wasn't compensation related at all. I think it was, I think it is very much trying to get an idea of what they gain, lose, whatever in their partying to this. So again, it is entirely around trying to grasp a decades-old agreement that has been, amended several times through the years and have a clear understanding. Where we were all starting with that clear knowledge, their efforts to get up to speed before they're comfortable proceeding.
Okay. So the most recent conversations, or I can ask you when somebody will agree to something. Is this like we're exchanging written language and they're debating whether they want to sign on it, or are they still kind of conceptually, they don't know if they want to move forward?
We have absolutely provided written language of, in fact, again, credit to our real estate staff. We've provided multiple options of how this could proceed based on their preference of how they'd like to dedicate the property needed for it. It is now very much in their court to contemplate what path they prefer and when they'll be willing to make that decision.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, I'm comfortable with the direction that we gave. It's really outside of our hands at that point. We'll follow the process, and it's up to the other parties to deliver on what they promised this neighborhood in the development order. Thank you.
On point, Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Well, actually, it's a question, because I want to make sure I'm understanding. It's not St. Joe that doesn't have the understanding. It's the other organization that's having, I guess, some issue with understanding what this process is and how it works.
That's correct.
So the enforcement the enforcement that we agreed to would have been punitive to St. Joe. But if St. Joe is not the one that's holding things up, then what are we doing here? If it's, is it next gen?
Yep.
If it's next gen that's causing a kink in the line, then to me, that's where the pressure needs to be applied instead of applying it to St. Joe. St. Joe's ready to go, from what I understand.
On point.
Can you answer my
That's correct.
question?
That's correct.
Okay.
St. Joe's-
Mr. Mayor, John, to clarify, I believe the notice of violation that was part of the, the efforts on the front end would apply to both. I don't believe it's limited to St. Joe, but John, correct me if I'm
You're
wrong.
correct, Mr. Manager. Our notice of violation was sent to both parties.
To both.
Okay, so it'll apply to both parties, but one, it's, okay, splitting the baby. One's ready to go, the other one's not, but what do we do when, one's trying to do what they can to make it happen and the other one is not necessarily in agreement? And that's a rhetorical question. You can't answer that, can't get in anybody's head, but.
Commissioner Porter,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
back on your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The issue is that St. Joe should have figured this out with Next Gen before we got here, So I hear you, and I don't disagree, but I think that's obviously part of the problem.
Right, and I don't disagree with you either,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Right.
Based on what we said last time, we didn't make any provisions for a splitting of agreement. So what should have happened didn't, and we're trying to find a solution to make it happen. But we also need to be very clear here where the problem is occurring that's preventing it from happening.
Well, that's all I had, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I think, I agree. I think the direction was clear. I'm ready to move forward, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
And I think there's a great opportunity here. Clearly, I indicated what our interpretation was. Because it is a priority of the city commission, the direction came from the city commission, that is a very serious consequence. If we reach the deadline, we're unsuccessful, we're very much willing to the very next day send a notice of violation. That was not how we were going to process it, but we have the opportunity. You can give us clarity, and we will send a notice of violation on the morning of the 16th if that's the direction. If you want us to bring an item back and say, here's where we are, we didn't get there, and here are the reasons, that's kind of the way we were thinking about it. But please, if you can give us direction on that, we're willing to have it. That'll be helpful to us.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Deputy.
Mr. Mayor, so my recall is a development order does set out some time frame. So if the city issues the notice of violation and we go to an enforcement hearing, that hearing has to be before the city commission within 30 days of the notice. So you have a time window that's at issue as well. So we could not, if you issued the notice on June the 15th, you would need an enforcement hearing before the city commission by July the 15th.
That's my motion, that we move forward according to that time frame. I mean, I thought that was the motion we gave, but so I'm reiterating that that's still my desire.
So let me make sure I understand, Commissioner Porter. The motion is to move forward with the punitive phase help me here, Mr. Attorney.
So under the development order, if the city identifies that there's violations of an obligation, and here it would be to complete the roadway, it issues a notice of violation. Within 30 days, there's a 15-day period to comply. Obviously, a road could not be built within 15 days or substantial compliance. But then within 30 days of the notice, the development order calls for a hearing before the city commission. If the city commission finds the landowner to be in violation of the development order, there are remedies which include suspension of permitting.
But Mayor, we don't have a meeting during that time. There is no city commission meeting.
So Mr. Mayor, if I might walk through it. So I think it's the will of this body on the morning of June 16th, we will send a notice of violation. That's fine. That's helpful to us, clear. We'll send it, because I think that's probably where we end up. And then I will work with your office to schedule a special meeting of the commission and within that 30-day window. That would be the process. And that's helpful. So we're real clear, and we can be clear to St. Joe and NextGen that the 15th is it, hard deadline, and then we're moving forward. That's helpful to us.
Does that clarify your motion, Commissioner Porter?
Do you still need a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, then sure, yes.
Okay, and there's a second? Second by the Mayor Pro Tem. All right, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so I would just add to that, it sounds like this doesn't get done in the timeline set out, but if negotiations continue, that's an additional 30 days before we would be having a violation hearing. If these seasons can come to resolution, I think we can call a special meeting to resolve it differently. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, motion on the table made by Commissioner Porter, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, aye. Passes 4-1 with the mayor in dissent. Commissioner Porter, it is your time.
That's all. Thank
We
you.
have had a great meeting. It's 5:22. We're going to recess and come back at 6 o'clock for the public hearing, and I will close with these comments. Commissioner Matlow, I truly appreciate your comments. I appreciate you directing your comments at me. I appreciate the way how you delivered your comments. And I know that you do not care for me, but I think that together we have demonstrated that we can work together. We had many 5-0 votes this evening. But let me be very clear. I do think that you are a bully. I think you have created a toxic work environment. I think
Mr.
your
Mayor,
actions are
Mr. Mayor,
reckless at times.
point of order, point of
And I
order.
encourage you to do better. I
Mr.
think
Mayor,
Tallahassee expects
of order,
more
Mr.
out
Mayor.
of the campaign.
Point of
We're
order.
in recess.
Okay.
On Wednesday, June 10th. We're on 16.01. Mr. Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item number 1601 is the first and only public hearing on ordinance number 26Z07, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the City of Tallahassee, located on 474 acres, located approximately 1,878 feet east of the intersection of Woodville Highway and Capitol Circle Southeast, on the official zoning map of the City of Tallahassee, changing the zoning classification of land from critical planning area to LOTD, planned unit development, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. The recommended action is option 1, conduct the first and only public hearing and adopt ordinance number 26Z07.
Excellent. Mr. Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
Richard Darabi is here to answer questions if you have any. Otherwise, no speakers.
Excellent. Colleagues,
Move option 1.
option 1's been properly moved. I'll second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-1 with Commissioner Porter in dissent. 16.02, Mr. Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, item number 1602 is the second and final public hearing on ordinance number 26008, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending chapters 1, 2, 4, 7, 9, and 10 of the Land Development Code, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. The recommended action is option 1, conduct the second and final public hearing and adopt ordinance number 26008.
All right. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Colleagues,
Move option 1.
option 1's been properly moved. I'll second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-1 with Commissioner Matlow in dissent. We're on number 16.03. Mr. Attorney.
Item number 1603 is the second and final public hearing on the fiscal year 2026-27 annual action plan. The recommended action is option 1, conduct the second and final public hearing and adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 annual action plan and approve its submission to HUD, appropriate the associated funds as proposed, and authorize the city manager or designee to execute contracts for the related activities and programs.
All right. Do we have any public comment on this?
We have one speaker on the item, Mayor, Tiffany Hill.
All right.
have 3 minutes for remarks. I'll give you a heads up at 30 seconds.
Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Tiffany Hill. I am at 1401 Lola Drive here in Tallahassee. So I just have questions, and maybe you all can answer them later, but why, I just don't understand, why did the city apply for that particular grant? The next question is, was there a health concern reference to children being exposed to lead as a result of maybe some possible blood work that had been done over time? Is there a process also for vetting contractors to ensure that they are licensed and qualified for any removal of toxins? Why was Holton Street and Palm Beach Apartments selected, and are they owned by the same owners? Will there be a public apology for those residents who may have been exposed, and will there be an opportunity for people to be able to go to the public health department or what have you to have blood work done if they feel like they may have been exposed? Because we all know that lead can cause a lot of health issues in folks, especially children. So I just wanted some answers to those questions because a lot of people are starting to wonder what is happening here and why is this happening to us. And I'm speaking of low-income families. When the grant spoke about low income period with kids under 6 years old, and was the housing authority approached about going to the Section 8 properties, giving them an opportunity, because we know when a lot of people were moved out of Orange Avenue apartments, they were put in 1938 houses, some of them. So this is why I have questions about that. So, and I don't expect you to answer them now. I just wanted, someone to think about that, and maybe, later or something like that, you all can put that out. But I really think that the citizens over there, who are still, people saying that they got gift cards and all that kind of stuff in that process. So I think it's concerning,
You're at 30 seconds.
Yes, so me being a retired Army veteran, I know how it feels to be exposed to toxins. So I think that we should take that seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
No additional speakers.
All right, colleagues.
Mr. Mayor, for clarification,
Yes, ma'am.
this item that we are voting on in the public hearing is not related to what the speaker was referring to, is it? Okay, I didn't think so.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There were a few things I wanted to address in here, but the largest point, this authorization for the entire $4 million gives the city manager the ability to authorize, execute the contracts for the related activities and programs. In light of the recent administration of HUD grants, I think we should provide a little more oversight on how these grants are released and reviewed. So I'd like to make a substitute motion that we conduct the second and final public hearing, approve its submission for HUD, and bring back the contract and related activities and programs to city commission meetings for approval.
Second.
It's been probably moved by Commissioner Matlow, seconded by Commissioner Porter, to postpone the second and final reading?
No.
Okay. Well, we cannot make substantive changes at this point. So it's either voted up or down. And I thought you wanted to postpone it to the next meeting?
No, Mr. Mayor, conduct the second and final public hearing, approve its submission to HUD, but do not authorize the city manager to execute contracts for the related activities and programs and have those come back to the city commission for approval.
It's a substantive change as to what was being advertised on second reading.
Well, I'm if I understand what the motion is, it's to accept the grant as it's proposed, but then bring this back for some discussion about oversight or implementation. So if I understand the motion, it's not changing the terms of the grant, but I'd need staff to help me.
Okay. I'm not going to support the motion because I think it's a substantive change to what's being proposed on second reading, which needs a vote up or down. I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate your substitute motion. All those in favor of the substitute motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those
What's the
opposed?
substitute okay, what's the motion on the table?
Commissioner Matlow's
Okay.
motion that you seconded.
Thank you. Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
And it fails 3-2 with the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioner Williams-Cox in dissent. And I apologize, Commissioner Porter. I think you're right. That was just a motion on the table. That was an original that went down. So let the record reflect. So now there is not a motion on the table. Is there a motion to be
Move for option one.
Option one has been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Passes 3-2 with Commissioner Matlow and Commissioner Porter in dissent. We're on item number 16.04. Mr. Attorney.
Item number 1604 is the first and only public hearing on resolution number 26R19, a resolution abandoning the right-of-way known as Sebring Court, located east of Country Club Drive, just north of Orange Avenue in the city of Tallahassee, Leon County, Florida. The recommended action is option one, conduct the first and only public hearing and approve resolution number 26R19.
Do we have any public comment?
No, sir.
Colleagues?
Move for option one.
Second.
Option one's been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. Item 16.05, Mr. Attorney.
Item number 1605 is the first and only public hearing on ordinance number 26009, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending sections 14.3.317, 14.3.320, and 14.4.419 of the Code of General Ordinance of the City of Tallahassee relating to police employees' pension provisions, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date. The recommended action is option one, conduct the first and only public hearing and adopt ordinance number 26009.
All right, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, sir.
Move for
Colleagues?
option one.
Second.
Option one's been properly moved by Commissioner Williams-Cox, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously 5-0. Mr. Attorney, anything else to come before us here at the public hearing?
No, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause in thanking, this is their last meeting, Deputy Chief Holmes and Deputy Chief Smith. Thank you. Please stand so that we can recognize you, and thank you for your dedication to the community. We stand adjourned.